Want to welcome back the viewers of Torah Anytime and Yibbeneh. We are extremely zocha to be in the KLM Torah's Chaim, training the post game of the future, Rabbi Travis. Rabbi Travis's KLM. I'm such an honor, unbelievable, and I'm glad I'm doing it now. I'm speaking now because it's my mother's yahrzeit. And I'm going to tell you her name, and it's very significant, okay? It's not about her name, but listen carefully. Golda, that's my mom's name. And my Zaydi's name is Yehoshua Leib. Golda Bat Yeshua Leib. Now, I'm about to tell you one of those woo stories, okay? An Emunah story. But as we know, this is, we took over this kollel today. This is the Kavanah LeMitzvahs Foundation. So I don't want to just tell you a story. I want to tell you the kavanah you should have every time you hear a story of Emunah. Okay? I'll just give you two. Some of you know me, I could go on, but I think two will be enough. Okay? And instead of I telling you this after, let's do it right now. Lichatchila. When you, and listeners please, when you hear this story, I want you to have in mind the mitzvahs aseh of Anochi, right, which is a mitzvah of Emunah, and the mitzvah of Yichud Hashem. Those are the ikr when you hear a story like this. This is so true. It was 47 years ago, and I remember it like today, like they always say, right? Listen to this. My Zaydi passed away when I was 16. Context. I was not Zocha yet. I had been captured. I was a hostage of the Goyim, you know what I mean? Tinuk Shenishba. And so was my mom. And in truth, my Zaydi was in Europe and was like attacked by the Haskalah. So no one here knew anything when this happened, all right? And it was in Baltimore. And I promise you, it's a gorgeous day right now in Eretz Yisrael. It was a gorgeous day when we drove from the apartment to the cemetery. I promise you, clear blue day. And as we got into the cemetery, we're driving into the cemetery, or just before it becomes dark gray clouds. And again, it started pouring rain, and the wind was so fierce, there were a few people with hats, their hats flew in the air, and the entire funeral, it's pouring rain down on my Zaydi's, as they're putting down there, pouring rain. And so my mom, she turns to me. Now I'm 16 years old. She looks at me, she says, "Why is this happening?" But I just, for whatever reason, I said, I don't know exactly, but it's for sure for a reason. Now, I had no rekka. I had no background for this, okay? And she didn't either. She asked that. Now, I promise this is also, Hashem knows he was there. What happened? We're leaving the base Kavaros. And it becomes a beautiful day again. This storm happened from the Kanisa to the base Kavaros. The Kavora, we leave and it's a beautiful day again, as if it never happened. Okay. So you remember what I said to my mom? I said, had to be a reason. I think it's about 16 years later. I was 16 then, so I was about 31, 32. And I'm learning in yeshiva, Birkas HaTorah, and also I realized this is part of the hashgacha. You know, our Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Green Shlita, he would make sure we were going through Bekias and learning Gemara after Gemara. I mean, if I hadn't been in that Shiva, it's not Mukhrach that I would have reached Gemara Sanhedrin, Daf, Mem, Zayin, Aleph. It's not Mukhrach that I would have ever done that, okay? But I did. And 16 years later, listen to what it says. This is in the Perek Nigmar Din. Mem Zayin Aleph. Tashma. Rebbe Nasan Omer. Simen Yafa Lemeis Shenifraim Mimenu La'achar Misa. Listen to what it says. It's a good sign for someone who died when they collect from the Paranios, when they collect from them after death. All right, what does that mean? Listen to what Rashi says. Kishenifraim Mimenu Ba'olam Hazeh. It's a good sign, says Rashi, when they collect from the person in Olam Hazeh, La'achar Misa, after they've died. Why? Diyesh lo kapara bakach. There's an atonement that comes from this. Now listen to the example. That's already pretty good, right? Pretty good match, right? But it gets better. It says, Reb Nasan brings as follows. Here are some examples of how they collect from a person, a dead person, after he's dead. Meis shelo nispad. Someone who dies without a hesped. V'lo nichbar. Someone who didn't get buried. O shechaya gorato. A wild animal, a chulder, somebody just drags him away. Ready? O shahayu geshamim mizalfim al mitaso. Or rain is dripping on their coffin. That's exactly what happened. You hear this? I don't know, Mom, but I'm sure there's a reason, okay? Now, I think that's already quite a story, right? Quite a Emunah Hashkacha Pratis, but that's not the end of the story. That was Yehoshua Leib. That's what happened to Yeshua Leib. And, okay, but now listen to what happened to my mom, Golda Bas Yehoshua Leib. So, by such Rachmei Shemayim, my parents, who passed away in this past year and a half, both of them were zocha to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. I have to give my sister credit for this. Incredible. So we're at the Beis Kavaros. I'm not going to tell you where, because when you hear the story, it's not good. Okay? The family sitting there, the Hever Kadisha, Golda Bas Yehoshua Leib. Yehoshua Leib, Mizalfim Geshem al Mitaso. Golda. I don't know if I shared this in public even, but the Hever Kadisha is moving the body to now put it down, and one of those Hever Kadisha, Hashem should have rachamim on him, protect him, no scar. You're going to understand why they asked Mechila, right? So I saw her, Hashem Yerachim, I saw her head go boom like that because they weren't careful. Her head went bang on the thing. And I have a son who is very sensitive. And as Hashem would have it, he was the one who saw it. Hazdei Hashem, I said to him, this is a siman tov. This is something good. It's going to give kapara. You hear this? Now again, think of all this. Like he saw, I'm right by him, I know the whole thing. Okay? Now, aren't you glad you had kavana for Anochi, the mitzvah of Emunah, that Hashem is Mashkiach, that Hashem works the world with Hashkacha Pratis. And now let me talk about Yichud Hashem. Why is it also Yichud? If you look in the beginning of the Mishnah Berurah, Ber Halacha brings the Sefer Chinuch on the 6 mitzvahs. So if you hear the description of Anochi, and then you hear the description of Yichud Hashem, it doesn't sound too different, okay? So you probably noticed that. They talk about it, they make diukim in the Rambam, etc. And I checked this. I checked this through. Someone wrote a sefer, etc. This is one way to do it. It's a simplification, but I think it's a good one. Anochi is recognizing that Hashem is running the world. He created the world. He gave us the Torah. Do you know where you can find it all the time and where you should have kavanah? Sukkot Zimra. every chasima of the Shmona Esrei. Whenever you say Hashem did anything, that's a mitzvah of Anochi. And when you have in mind to Nekayim this, you're getting the Kedusha to Mechazek your Amunah. Okay? But now let's talk about Yichud Hashem. Yichud Hashem is, they say it's a deeper look at Anochi, Rav Tzadok Cable, that's I reviewed what he had to say. It's a deeper look at Anochi, but also it's like this. It's your Mayashev Kushias, right? In other words, or even if you don't know, when you say Kol Manda Avila Rahman Latav, when something doesn't look good, it doesn't seem like it's with Hashgacha Pratis. It is, right? That's Yichud Hashem, right? The story of Purim. When you say Kol Manda, your incredible Rabbi Travis, he's always telling you stories about your suffering and how to thank Hashem. That's the mitzvah of Yichud Hashem. It's the other level where you mitaretz. Like the Malbim says in Shema, he says, Hashem, Rachamim, Hu Elokeinu, Midas Adin, Hu Echad. It's all coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's Yichud Hashem. You hear? So take advantage when you hear these stories, right? And I should say events. I hate using the word stories. It sounds fictional. God forbid. When you hear these things, when you're always have in mind this, and there you will be consciously working on your Muna and the higher one of Yichud Hashem. Okay? And also, I'm the last person on earth. I will not ever recommend you read the news, whatever. But if you hear news, right? If you hear news, you gird your loins, okay? In fact, there's a Zohar that says in last Parsha, if the Jews hadn't inculcated Anochi, Amunah, and Yichud Hashem, the Makos, they wouldn't have believed the Makos were from Hashem. Can you believe that? the incredible Makos. So, I just say, fortify yourself when you hear the news, when you hear those other things, someone tells you about politics, Kayim Mitzvah Anochi and Yichud Hashem. I realize it's all from you. I may not know it now. Maybe it'll take 16 years later, and then we'll know. Okay? Thank you very much, and we should just try our best. This is the dimension I didn't speak about last time. Your makshava. Sometimes Hashem pays us just to think the right thoughts. Where on earth do you get paid for thinking? All right, there's a think tank, but you have to produce research, right? You always have to produce results. It's a result of Kadosh Baruch Hu when you think the right thing, the Torah thought, and have Amunah. Okay, thank you.
You're